Well, this is going to be the most effortless one that we have. I'll bet you that. You ready for it, man? Are you all right? Right? You're all right. You're all right. You're all right.
In a world filled with things on the internet, 2 men, 1 podcast, 2 pours.
Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Two Poor Podcast, coming straight out of the mountains, close to Linville, but it's inside of Newland.
Absolutely.
And it's been a unbelievable reset. We came here to do one thing, and that was to disconnect from what's going on and connect, get better, thought processes together for this show.
Mission completed.
And get 3 podcasts done. So this is what we're going to do. I just want to throw a major shout out to all of our friends and family who always have supported us through the madness that is our life. We've gone through some craziness, and we're going to get a little different tonight and be a little bit more personal and a little bit more open to some things that actually happened to Jason and myself. And it's near-death experiences, right?
Yeah.
And it's a couple of individual things that happened to both myself and him. And I hope you enjoy the ride and the story and the journey of it. But let's do it like we always do, man. You got some housekeeping to do?
Yeah, a little bit of housekeeping. Definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Blue Diamond Pest Control. Jeff, the guys and girls over at Blue Diamond do a great job. If you're going to need pest control, if you own a house,
facts,
you're in a condo, wherever you live, you need pest control. You want to make sure you keep the bugs out.
What if they live in a bungalow?
A yurt? Either way, you don't want bugs messing up your property. So.
What about apartment complexes? Do they provide service for apartment complexes?
Some don't, some do, depending on where you're at. So that's a good question. That's a good question.
Jeff Maddox.
Yeah, call Jeff. It's 704-701-0876 or hit him up at bluediamondpc.net. He can answer all those questions for you.
Blue Diamond.
Residential or commercial, he does that too. So big warehouses, small businesses, he's a man of the people. So give him a shout.
Yeah.
Guys and girls over there will do you a good job.
They'll take care of you, yeah?
Absolutely. New bourbon for the episode.
Right.
Neither one of us have had this. It's a new bottle.
I saw it a few times in passing.
That's right. And you chose this one, and I dig it. I mean, the first thing to me, it kind of hit me with the 19 Crimes wine kind of look to it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's pretty clean cut. Different style body, different style as far as on the color too. Really light. So
yeah, and which is crazy with some of the information on it because it is wine barrel.
Yes, yeah. So 88 proof. So we're still in that range where you like to be.
Come on,
If it's smooth, I'm down with it. So Dave Finney, who is a winemaker, he's out in Napa Valley.
Oh, okay.
And so this bourbon comes out from the California area.
This is California bourbon?
California.
This is almost blasphemy.
Yeah, hey,
guys.
We're going to check it out, and we're going to put it to the test, and that's for sure. So this is a minimum 5 year. Minimum 5 years. So that was pretty cool. It is a blend, so we don't really know the oldest barrels that they're using.
Right.
But it is finished off in a Cabernet, like literally Napa Valley Cabernet barrels it's finished off in.
Which is surprising because you got the Basil Hayden has the same kind of deal.
In the red wine cask.
In the red wine, and the hue of it is super dark.
Yeah, it's almost like they dumped out the barrel and poured the bourbon right in.
Right.
Because it's really a red.
Where this has got more of a blonde color hue.
I know.
Bounces off them just right.
It looks so good in these glasses too.
Yeah.
It's a good one. But I'm excited to get the tasting notes on this one. So
Let's go after
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
Let's go after it. Let's have a
little
sip.
sip.
All right.
Put it to the test.
I'm doing the thing that you taught me 12 episodes ago.
I'm glad you do it right.
It smells like berries.
Smells good.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at it.
A little spice at the end, more spice than sweet. Maybe the second sip will be different.
Yeah. It's I was thinking. I mean, definitely a little bit of fruit, a little bit of sweet.
Real alcohol-y. Like it's got a little high.
It does.
But
it does.
the spice to it, and where the Penelope we had was 80 proof.
Yeah.
This being 88, it's not going to be that much of a difference.
You wouldn't think so, but it does. The Penelope does such a good job of smoothing out. It doesn't ever go too high with the sharpness of it, the bitterness of it, or the alcohol taste that you were talking about. But this one right here is a little bit harsh. I'm gonna take another sip. Let's see what's going on here. Okay,
better, different,
a little bit better,
yeah,
a little bit better,
a little bit better.
Definitely some sweet to a little syrup. I mean, in there as well. But
is it maple syrup? Right? Is it Aunt Jemima's? We
it's
don't
definitely
know.
not Vermont maple syrup. So first one from California. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if ice changes it on the second pour.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
All right. So, man, we've talked about this topic, right? We talked about this topic.
Right.
I think this came to the forefront really with losing our friend and losing a brother of ours.
God bless the ghost.
Definitely RIP to our
Thank you to
buddy
Mike White.
Ghost.
Thanks for Mike White for putting this together for all of us, and so we could all have it to represent him.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mike. You did a heck of a job on
you're
this.
right.
Great idea. Thank you for even coming up with the idea. Want to give a shout out to Sean too. On one of the last episodes, we had our tribute video. That was
Sean
recorded.
did such a good job with
It
that.
was such a great edited episode, and I don't think people realize sometimes when you're putting a project together how much work goes into it.
In the background, right?
Yeah, and we want to make it look as easy and seamless as possible, right? But Sean has so much to do on the back end of projects, and he's done such a great job and is growing. So Sean,
Good job,
when
buddy. That Billy Bob Thornton video was what I thought was the surprise when you said that.
Yeah,
and then when I watched it and saw the ghost under the man, it hit me, man. Hats off to you, Sean. I appreciate you, man. You're a big part of this.
Yeah, and unbeknownst to us,
podcast.
that Billy Bob Thornton adding that video in was his call. We didn't even know about it until that final cut. And man, it was just such a great touch, man. So good job. So
you lose people, you start thinking about mortality, and you start thinking about people you love or people you haven't talked to in a while, or a lot of sometimes a lot of panic thoughts will go through your mind. And so we had a discussion about what happened to us in our lifetime, and it was two separate issues that happened years apart, but one of the my situation, Jason was actually there and a part of. And, I think it's important for me to be able to tell this story with in layman's terms and make it real simple. And what the repercussion of it was so severe that I didn't understand it till I got older and started asking questions. I even asked Jason last night some very hard questions to ask somebody who witnessed something that was as bad as that. I don't remember it. I have very little memory of a lot of things from my my childhood, from before that, 13 and back. It's very spotty, right? But that day that I'm about to tell you about, the couple things that I remember were, and we're gonna be transparent with what is going on. So we decided, it was me and Jason and J. Rue decided that we were gonna walk from our neighborhood a million miles up to East Harris and Albemarle Road and get some cigarettes.
And back in the days, we walked everywhere.
Everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
Fitmate. So what would happen in this situation is you'd all throw your money in. It's back when cigarettes cost like $2. And one of us would stand outside of a gas station and ask people, hey, man, can you buy us a pack of smokes? Right? So Jason was that guy, and it didn't happen, right? And the thing that I remember was Jason walking toward me at the roll-around skating rink parking lot, going through Delta 6, but it was like little flashy memories of it.
Yeah.
And then nothing. I don't remember anything after that at all. And so what ended up happening was, and this was crazy to me because I just found this out last night. Well, we, decided that, man, let's go up to Idlewild Road, go up to that gas station.
Which is about another half mile down the road.
At least. But back then we could do that in at least 6 minutes. So where where East Terrace is, going away from Albemarle Road toward Independence, you go past Sandalwood and you go through a light and it curves around to the right. And there's a road that comes up, one of the first roads on the left, just past Idlewild Road North, right?
Yeah, Idlewild Road North that dead ended into Lawyers Road. And these are all East Charlotte landmarks. So anybody who grew up in the Charlotte area, especially anybody that follows us, that knows us from the Independence and Northeast and Albemarle Road people, they know exactly where this is.
Right. So what happened from what I was told, because again, I don't remember any of this, right? So it's a 4-lane road, and where that street was, I decided without saying anything to Jason and Jeremy, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go home, I guess. I didn't say anything to him. So I walked out to the traffic was clear on the left. I walked out to the double lines, and apparently what happened is I was gonna go, and I guess I got shook. And I turned around right into a car driving Nissan Sentra, driving 40-something miles an hour. And it hit me. My head went into the A-pillar, which is where the windshield and the driver's side window are, that little, piece of frame. And my head hit that, and it slammed me on the ground and essentially, knocked me out unconscious. And then Jason and Jeremy turned around and they saw it. And I guess Jason saw the whole thing. And it had to have been the most traumatic thing ever for him to witness and or talk about, even all these years later. And, I asked him some questions last night because I didn't know. I have no idea what, some of the things that went down. And so Jason said they ran over or they came over there. I mean, this is 5 o'clock, right? Traffic, crazy traffic, right?
It wasn't that late, but this is a busy road.
Busy road.
And this is a road where you can fly.
Yeah. East Terrace. I mean, it's East Charlotte, man. People drive wild. We drove wild over there. We lived there.
Yeah.
But so they moved me off the street and, and I'm pretty sure they were probably pretty terrified because I don't think I was responding or whatever. And ambulance came, and I guess I showed a little bit of sign of something, life a little bit, right? When they put me up on the gurney or whatever it's called. Sorry if I'm butchering this. Just it's different for me to be talking about this.
This is a very difficult subject for us to dive into. So give us some grace on this one. We're going to try to get through this.
So anyway, the next thing I remember out of this whole story that he told me, I wake up in the hospital and I'm freaking out. The room, I don't know it's the hospital. I don't know where I'm at, quite frankly.
And how long? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. How long from the hospital to you waking up? How long was this?
I ended up, and I don't have this for certain, and I should have. I tried to get some of this information, just didn't get it. I was in a coma for 4 days.
Okay.
Right, but I believe it was a
medically
induced coma, right?
Yeah.
But when I woke up, I immediately panicked and I jumped off the bed, and it was my right leg. As soon as my right leg hit the ground, I fell on the ground and I started screaming because it hurt like bloody hell, right? And blank, I don't remember anything. And then the next moment, I look down and there's some dude wrapping my leg up. I don't know what's going on. Well, obviously he was putting a cast on my leg, right? And then fall back out. I'm done. And then I wake back up, and it's my sister just kind of like, right in front of me, and I look over, and there's all my friends, my people over there, and I'm like, yo, and look at them, and I knew it was I knew everybody, right?
Yeah.
This is the thing that's going to be weird here in a second when I'm explaining. I knew that was everybody, right? Mm-hmm. At one point, the doctor asked me who the president was, and I said like Bill Washington or some crazy shit. And he asked me what year it was. I was like, I don't know, right? And then my dad stayed there, every night. Either him or my mother would stay there. Super uncomfortable for them. I'm gonna lay on it, but we would do it for our kids, right? I can't believe that I put them through this nightmare. But I remember waking up and they were rolling me out in a wheelchair, and I rolled out and I looked to my right, and there's this little dude on a wheelchair, and half his leg is gone. He's got a bandage over it, like where his knee is, and he's probably like 7, right? And I just kind of look at him. He looks at me. We're both like, what the fuck? You can tell, right? Even at those young ages, we're looking like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, like how do we end up here?
So I end up going into this, it's a room where they're trying to help because it's a brain injury, severe brain injury. So they want to come in and try to assess maybe what what you don't know.
Like motor function,
and
cognitive.
I had all those.
Okay.
Right? Motor functions were good. And I remember vividly, the guy put out this huge picture with a collage of different things. And he said, I want you to point at the wolf on the thing. And I saw the wolf just like I'm looking at you. And I look at him and I'm like that. And he was like, no, point at it. And I was like, right there. Mm-hmm. And point, and I'm like, man, what the fuck? And literally said that, right? And I guess part of my brain injury where it hit me is that there's a filter that apparently it's unfiltered, and had me talking wild. Well, anyway, that happened, and then now I'm starting to kind of come to and understand, like I'm in trouble here. I'm in a in the hospital. I've got this cast all the way up my leg. I feel woozy as hell. I don't know. I know my dad. I know my mom. I know all these things, but there's certain, things that just were crazy. And then I remember being back in my room, and I'm laying there and watching TV in the hospital sucks. Even now it sucks, but it sucked back then. And I heard this shrieking, crying, screaming, right? And I'm like, Ma, and I'm like freaking out. What is that? And it was the little dude next door to me. That's when they take off his bandages and they have to rebandage it. Apparently this kid lived on a farm or some shit and got stuck the wrong way on his dad's trailer a tractor, and it ripped his poor leg off.
Goodness gracious.
So I wake up. I remember waking up the next morning. You got to do the same stuff and go talk to doctors are in and out, and I remember rolling out and looking over and seeing him, and I was like, kind of like the big homie kind of thing, and I'm like looking at the kid. I'm like, what's up? And he was smiling. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, this kid was screaming for his life.
Yeah.
Right?
Kids are resilient.
And I'm none the wiser. I don't still know what happened to me, know? And then me and him did some Days of Thunder wheelchair racing and shit like that.
I love that clip in the movie.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. The nurses and all those people in there, I'm sure that they were like, get these kids well and get them out of here. Right?
I don't need cold trickle in my hallways anymore.
So so I end up, this is Christmas break. This happened on the first day of Christmas break, and everybody knows growing up, Christmas break is 2 weeks.
Yep.
Whew, it's amazing.
It's the best thing ever.
It's the first day And that happened. Well, they allowed me to leave with my mom and go to Christmas with my family, right? And I went there and they bought me the most butter feli outfit, fucking basketball shorts with like a basketball jersey kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wore that outfit for like 4 days and it was reversible.
Yeah.
So you might think it's like, oh, nice outfit. Nah, I know it was a black one yesterday. It's a white one now. Right?
Yeah.
But I was on my stuff. But went back there and I was, still very, very confused. Don't understand what's going on. Why so much attention being, placed on me? My mother had to do interviews with the news people came in. My mom did an interview as best she could. And then they kept coming back. And it was just like, but that's the nature of that beast, right? Of that industry, right? They want to get all they
want all the sentimental things, and
so there's a kind of a layered part of this story. But so I end up getting released from the hospital from intensive care on the last day of my winter trip, and I go home to my dad's house. That's who I was living with at that time, and he had put my bed downstairs in the living room where the couch was. And I opened the door, and this little tiny ass dog just runs up like lightning bolt. Well, and I'm like, what's going on? It's your dog. It's your dog. It's Otis, right?
Yeah.
Coolest, most unbelievable dog, and even at that, puppy part of their life, animals have this thing where they know something ain't right with this. I gotta be a little extra to this one, right? They sense things,
Yeah.
And it was awesome to have that, and so the process of getting through everything, I had to go back to school with the big cast on, and it doesn't matter if I was in East Charlotte or not, but kids are cruel, right? So people would talk shit and do whatever, and I'm like, whatever. Like,
how'd you take that?
I was like cool as hell before that, from what I remember, and it made me feel like I was like a chump. Like it was like I can't get up and say anything.
Yeah,
I'm like sitting here in a wheelchair, and then to make matters worse, when they were taking the cast off, I was like, hell yeah, because anybody that's ever been in a full leg cast, a bunch of things happen probably. It stinks. You itch like crazy. I remember having hangers and doing the hanger out and just, it was bad.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is the funny thing about parents, right? And no diss to my mom, but I'm sitting there and they're cutting the thing off and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Excited. And it cuts it down, both sides, and they open it up. The first thing I see, and this is before I went through the puberty thing, you know what I'm saying? Before I went through the hair in weird places and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And my whole right leg had dark ass hair on it. And I was like, hell yeah.
You're
right?
excited to see it.
Yeah, right?
It's the little things.
And then I look down and I go, Mom, what? There was a metal pin, sticking out of my right ankle, on the inner part of my ankle.
Ooh.
The pin had it's almost looked like an Allen wrench.
Yeah.
And then it had one coming out of the front of my leg at the same kind of ankle spot, just in the front above my foot. And I was like, what the fuck? What is that? Well, what happened was when the car ran over my foot, it snapped my growth plate. Okay. So I remember sitting there, this doctor's cool old man or whatever. And I said, how are we going to get these out? Do I got to get a surgery? And he looked and he was like, well, we're going to grab it and we're just going to yank it out like that. And I went,
pause.
Yeah,
what?
pause. And I went and like almost passed out.
Yeah.
He literally pulled both of them out and it felt good. Don't know how. Felt good.
Amazing.
Pulled out. I'm like, wow. Pause. And then they put the short cast on. And I was like, man, ain't this you know what I mean?
You thought you were done. Yeah. You thought you were good.
So then not only do you have to wear the short cast, but you got this big ass, Velcro boot. And we're talking about when you're in middle school and kids are cruel. and they're like, damn, you got them new J's? Whoa! Like, right? But, you know, I dealt with it. It made me tougher, and it was cool. So the craziest parts of all of these things where, like, you know, I can kind of run through the moments or the, you know, bullet points of it. The crazy thing is being 42 years old and not remembering anything at all. Now, your brain protects you or protects whatever sometimes from traumatic moments so that you don't remember it, so I'm told, right? You know, my head hit a car going 40 miles an hour and then slammed on the asphalt, right? So it was like, you know, none of it made, I didn't care, like, you're a kid, right? You're none the wiser, right? I got to roll around. I got to roll around in a wheelchair, and then I got to walk around in this bullshit ass deal. But what it did was give me a different filter, and it gave me a different personality, and a little bit more aggressive than I was prior. And it also, I would cuss without even thinking about it. Being a kid, you don't just cuss in front of your parents. No. Because in my world, you get slapped for that, right? So my mom was like, she's like, yeah. I'm like, there's no way, Mom. She's like, no, you. I remember vividly, you were at my house and you walked in the kitchen and you were like, hey, Mom, what the fuck's for dinner? Right? And you just walked on into the...
Like it's all good.
Yeah. And, well, so I got in trouble at school a little bit because, you know, I guess they didn't have the documents of what happened or they didn't have, you know, whatever. So we got past that. But it made it difficult for me to understand my temper. It made it difficult for me to understand, you know, why can't I remember X, Y, and Z? You know, and you at a young age or adolescent like that, you know, Ace Ventura is more important than me understanding why I almost died. You know, but then you get older and then you ask the questions and you know. So what happened? Like, Jason, man, what happened? What I thought happened was that I told y'all I was going home, and you were like, nah, bro, you didn't. We were walking all together, and all of a sudden we heard whatever, and I turned around and saw the car hit you, and I'm like, fuck, okay. And then back in the VCR days, you would put on whatever TV program's on, put a blank VCR cassette in the VCR and hit the record button, and you could record what was playing on the TV. And my mom recorded a interview with J-Ru and Jason, and I thought until last night that they came up and interviewed them right after it happened, and I'm just like, that's fucking crazy. But Bridwell told me that you said something last night, I can't remember. It said they said I was playing chicken.
So when we were walking, we were heading back to the store. And yeah, you literally out of nowhere. Now, out of nowhere. This is what I remember. Out of nowhere, you dipped across the road. Everything happens. Everything transpires that you said. And the next day, there was and this was back in the days too, where we were broke. In my household, we were broke. Right. We didn't have cable. Right. We had the regular shows though. We had ABC and all that kind of stuff. So ABC News was a pretty big staple for us in our household. And so I saw a not newspaper article, but a TV, the news interview with a gentleman that lived in one of those houses right across from that street that you were trying to go down. Right. And our neighborhood was big. I mean, even if you crossed over there, walking up, it would have been 2 miles to your house, to the neighborhood. And he said in the interview that we were playing chicken. Right. And I was like, man, I just saw one of my best friends get hit by a car. One of my other best friends was with us. We didn't know left from right at that moment, you know, in that time period. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, you mean to tell me some old bastard is going to call the news and get interviewed and say we were playing chicken? Nah, man, that ain't going to happen. So I called the news station. I started raising hell. Man, I'm a teenager. Right. I'm 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? But ain't gonna stop me though.
Right.
You know, and so I got the lady called me back who I guess did that interview with that guy.
Right.
And she was like, okay. She was like, well, do you want to tell your side of the story? I was like, yeah, I know. I want to set the story straight. There ain't no other side of the story. It's our side because we were there.
Right.
This guy wasn't there. And so she interviewed us, and she interviewed us walking up the road along where we were
like
walking,
reenacting. That's
basically.
why I thought it was.
Yeah,
you
because
were there
yeah, that's right. Because
of,
you said that last night. Because it was right there. It was in
Right.
that area, and so we told our side of the story, and they got that out there and retracted it. You know, kind of on air.
Thank you for doing that. And that's I wouldn't expect anything less. But thank you for doing that. That's that.
Man, they say history is told by the winners, and in a lot of cases, there's so many people's side of the story that don't get heard. Mm-hmm. And I know we were kids,
right?
And I know this is an older man. You know, I mean, who's going to not believe an 80-year-old man or whatever, however old he was, but whatever he thinks he saw, he didn't see.
Right.
And I want to make sure we told the truth.
Well, that's fire that you did that, man. And so where I don't remember certain things and don't understand why I can't remember the certain things, the thing that that you put in perspective when you're older and established, and I was a moment away from not having my kids in the future. I was a moment away from not having my wife, and that that doesn't. That's a hard thing to think about, because I couldn't imagine, my world without them. And the other thing that happened that was had nothing to do with me, right? There was a girl on Providence Road the same day that happened, that she got hit by a car and she died the same day. And it was like a thing in my, like, I don't know why I shared such a sympathy for a stranger, but I'm like, wow, like, how did I make, I made it, but she didn't. Like, she should have babies and she should have a family, and all that. And I've always wanted to know the guy. My mom told me that he came to the ICU and came up there and walked in the room and just was like, is he okay? Is he okay? And started crying. And my mom, being the mother that she is and the soft, she's amazing. Obviously let this guy know everything was okay, and man, I would love to know if who he is, and if he's still, around, if he's still alive today, which I hope he is. I would love to meet him, because it wasn't his fault. And if I was him and that happened to me, I'd probably have some demons, some real shit to,
Yeah, he
try to,
and being on scene. I mean, he was extremely sincere.
Right.
At the time, man, we were young, and it's so hard to judge certain things. And now we're talking about going back 25 years and trying to rehash the story, and it's still haunting, that image. But we initially thought that he was going fast, like he was going too fast.
Right,
but,
of course.
But we don't know. But
it's still 45-mile-an-hour road.
Yeah, it's fast. But he was extremely freaked out. He was extremely sincere. He was was crying. He was extremely like you could tell, like there was not a bone in his body that looked like he was,
the suffer that I know that he's gone through for all these years. And we all witness some crazy stuff sometimes, and something will happen and you're like, God bless, whatever it is. In that gentleman, that dude, man, I'm gonna tell you, if you happen to listen to this, or that it wasn't your fault in the least. And I can't be more thankful that you came and checked on me and gave me that blessing, man. That's big to me, even all these years later. And when you look back on life and you look at the good, bad, and ugly, and you look at the most amazing things and it was amazing looking back on it that I made it through that. It's amazing that I was able to get through that and go through life. I had struggles with some things, and I had to figure out had to relearn myself. Apparently I was a normal, kind of kid before that, and I turned into a 6'4" black man after. It's currently JJ Bass. But
optical illusion.
I like to put levity into it because the situation is horrifying, and the memory of it escapes me so much that it's so difficult for me to understand how all these other people, you and J. Rue, have to fucking, live with that. I don't know what goes on up in the gray when you're thinking, but maybe sometimes there's some points in your life that memory replays and is haunting. But that's my near-death experience, and it was good enough for me to get a second chance. It was good enough for me to understand. Well, I didn't understand that, but it was good enough for me to create and build a legacy and keep the Bass name going on my behalf. And I love you, Jason. I love you, J. Rue, and my family for having to go through it. And I hope no parent ever has to go through what my parents did. I hope no friends have to go through what my friends did. And there's a hole that you can't fill with memories or with good thoughts when people die, and especially when people take their own life and shit like that. And it's important to know that, man, some people have some horrible things that happened in the past and some demons and stuff like that. But man, your heart's ticking, you're breathing, and you're alive right now for a reason, and respect that. And but that's my story, man.
Man, one of the things I love about you, me, and a lot of the people that are in our kind of inner circle, right, is we can talk about some of these things, that are like very, very serious. It's very, very difficult. It brings out so many emotions.
Right.
And I'm so interested because I know we've all had like some crazy things we've dealt with, but do you, going back to like afterwards in the hospital, you say you don't remember before to a certain point of the event. Mm-hmm. And then a little bit afterwards, there was like some basically like a void. Mm-hmm. Man, it's amazing what the body can do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Pretty resilient.
I truly believe that that's work of intelligent design. That we are gifted with the ability to block out some of those things because they are so traumatic.
Right.
That we can't process it.
Right.
We cannot process that. Is there anything in that void? Is there anything that you can reflect back on that anything that stands out?
No, nothing. I mean, it's like you being right here, right now, and then bang, and you waking up in a hospital, and having no memory of right now, and no memory of the week before, or even most of your childhood. There's a lot of shit I just don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, and it's like damn, man, that sucks, man. You kind of stole that away from me. Or you could be like, good looking out for keeping me here and making more memories. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, the human brain, the body, the resilience, the way to come back. One of the jokes that happened, my growth plate got snapped. My leg didn't break. Okay.
Wow.
So I go to the doctor for a follow-up, and they measured my leg. Mm-hmm. They measured my leg.
Okay.
Well, apparently, they were just making sure that my leg was still growing. I didn't know that at that time. And I'm like, what? So
there was a fear that maybe.
Oh, it wasn't a fear. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
They were like making sure that everything got put back correctly and etc. and that I would have a normal growing leg. And
give thanks to the surgeons and the
God
doctors.
Almighty.
Where were you at? What hospital were you at?
It was Carolina's Medical Center.
Or CMC, okay.
But I guess back then it might have been called Memorial Hospital. I don't know. I was born in that place, and apparently almost hit the dirt. But
so all right, so that happened so long ago, right?
Yeah.
And of course, everything that's happened since then. I mean, everything that you've experienced, the kids, Ash, and all that kind of stuff. What, looking back on it, what's the takeaway?
The obvious, man. The right now, the obvious. Like right now, at this very moment, I got 4 kids. Right now, at this very moment, I've got a wife that I've been with for 23 years. I got a best friend that I'm doing this podcast with. This, this journey started from an ill. It started from a problem. It started from a, man, I got problems. I need to come see you, blah, blah. And then we turned it into this. All that, the right now, that's the shit that people don't think about so much, because guys that only care about the next big boom of money they can get, they're all thinking about next week, tomorrow, or the people that aren't really hustlers thinking about making money at work. They only want to get to the weekend so they can get, blasted all weekend. Like, what it did for me is turn me into who I am right now. Right now, I got a great job. Right now, I got a great life. I got a great wife. I got that I respect the right now, and like right now, I wish I could dap up Ghost, or I could get my text message threads that last for 4 hours of the most funny, hilarious shit that you can ever think of. But right now I can't, because you know what I'm saying? He left this plane. So right now, while I'm on it, man, I want to respect and love and be more humble and be more accepting that, man, I can't change the world. I can't make something change that ain't supposed to change. I mean, I put the work in and I get the reward of it. But the reward of what happened then to now, again, is Josh, Jacob, Isabella, Julia, Ashley.
Yeah.
My family, my brother Diesel. I love that fucking guy. Like, the torment that it put him through. I love my sister Mary Bass, the torment it put her through. I love Katie Bass. I love you. I ain't talked to you in forever. And there's been some whatever kind of bullshit that's happened because of Dad's passing and because of me not reaching back out to you. Fuck that, man. Call me. This all this nonsense, all this you know what I'm saying? Call me. We got no time. Life's short, life's fragile, right? Look at people when they, you look at your Facebook memories and you oh my God, look at Josh. He was so small. Well, look at you right beside him, right? 50 pounds ago, right? Not the double chin version of yourself.
Yeah.
We're getting old, man. We're getting old. And guess what, man?
I think we're getting better, actually.
We're getting old. Guess what, though, man? I'm not going to be afraid of getting old. And I'm not going to be, I got blessed to do it. So I'm going to go for it, right?
I hear that.
And, but I mean, that's my story. And I'm really looking forward to everybody being able to hear what happened with you. Right.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having the, the guts and, to say that. It takes a lot, man. It takes a lot to put your memories and your life, you know what I'm saying, behind a microphone for the world to judge and listen to and critique and everything like that. So,
right. Can I get one up top?
Yes. Thank you. Anytime. Right. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, so my story's a little bit different. Comes a lot later in life. You know what I mean? This is here a couple of years ago, and so at this time, let's go back to COVID. Right, COVID happened. Met a young lady, showed some interest in each other. We started dating.
All right.
So we'd start dating around summertime of 2020. And we'd been dating a couple of months, and she wanted me to she wanted to introduce me to her mom.
Okay.
Right. So mom lived in Georgia, and so we were going to go down to Georgia. And she was like, well, bring Christian along. She was like, I want to introduce Christian as well.
Okay.
So Christian and I, headed down with her. So we all three headed down to Georgia, and got to meet her mom and her stepdad. They both worked in Atlanta, had an apartment there, but they had a mountain house about an hour and a half north of there. And so we were up in the mountains of Georgia.
Okay.
And so we were going to go out for a hike. And she was like, there was this cool place that she wanted to take me to, and Christian, so because we all three love to hike. So we walk about a quarter of a mile in, and there's a place, if you actually look it up, I think there's a couple of different ones. I think there's one actually in Minnesota, but it's called Minnehaha Falls in that area. And I guess after my accident, I jokingly referred to it as Major Haha Falls.
Yeah.
But so we start the hike in. It's about a quarter mile in, and then it opens up into a beautiful waterfall area. I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
It's really cool. So big kind of pool down at the bottom where you can swim, and then the waterfall went up and up and up. It was a cascading waterfall.
Like shelves.
Yeah, exactly. So cascading. So you have an area, and then you kind of go up, and there's another area, and it's not it's not like a Tetris block. So there might be 4 feet, and then 8 feet, and then 4 feet,
so
7 feet.
It's a
Yeah. So it's it was a lot, and man, going if we look back when we were kids, I jokingly, I always laughed. I always gave you a hard time. You know what I mean? We always had so much. A little bit, yes, a little bit. But I was so much more close to the vest. I was so much more calculated, where you were sometimes man, I just don't give a damn. And I love that. I always love that about you. I love that about you now. And so for me, we get out there and we're having fun. And I'm like, man, hey, Christian, you want to go climb this waterfall? Man, that ain't like me. I'm not one of those people that's like, I'm gonna go climb a fucking waterfall.
You're not. Yeah.
That's not me. And so because people would climb up onto a couple of ledges and they'd take pictures, and you got the waterfall and everything. And there's a bunch of people out there that day, right? So
it's a popular. This is not this is a destination kind of. It's a destination.
Oh yeah, okay. Because there's huge campgrounds and stuff near there. Right. So I mean, you got people kind of in the water because it's summertime. It was in August. It was August 8th,
right?
Actually, 2020. And so Christian and I start climbing up. So we start climbing up the waterfall, and then start climbing up the waterfall, and then start climbing up the waterfall.
So you're not walking beside it left or right. You're actually climbing.
We're actually climbing up the waterfall. Okay. So yeah. So this was there was water flowing, but it wasn't fast enough for it to truly block you from climbing up it. Right. So we would climb one spot, and then we'd walk down a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 steps, and then climb up another little section. All the way up. So I think at the highest point it was about 100 feet, 110 feet. We didn't climb all the way to the top. We were the next ledge down, and in some parts of it along the sides you could climb up using just earth. Climb up the dirt and rocks and everything like that. In which girl I was dating at the time did. She climbed up that way, and so we climbed up, and we got up to about the furthest point that I felt comfortable climbing. And Christian's with me at the time, and he's a lot smaller. Heck, he's grown a foot since then.
Right, 4 years is a long time for a young lad.
Yeah, it is, and he really grew a foot like that next year and a half. So we're up there and we're kind of hanging out, and I think she got a couple pictures, and people are looking up there, because we're up at the top and everything like that. And then and I was like, at this point I was like, I might have wanted to rethink my next decision, but I asked Christian, I was like, hey, do you, let's go ahead and climb down.
Right.
Yeah. And I look back and I'm like, man, that's the dumbest thing in the world that I could have said. Like, how are you going to climb down this waterfall?
Oh, versus going
yes, versus climbing, walking 20 feet.
Sean, can you grab us some ice real quick, brother, man? I've got to.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, that's a little bit harsher than I thought. It hadn't really smoothed up. Maybe the ice will help out a little bit.
Continue on. My bad.
Yeah, you're good. And so there's parts of this story, one in particular that I think my brain will not let me process.
What's that?
And it was the first step of that climb down.
Old school.
You could just reach your hand in there if you want, because
I like making noise. So the first step down, I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to everything that you're saying. Bah, bah, bah. Oh, I'm feeling super aggressive right now.
I can see that. So maybe we'll just wait for you to actually.
Well, who didn't do the ice like this back in the day?
I just want to say for the record,
Hello,
there's
my son.
a reason why I do the ice and everything like that, because
he does the ice with the worst
small grill tongs. That's for the bucket. You said they were grill tongs, but
they are grill tongs.
They're made for the bucket.
They're made for little baby
I do it with
sausages.
precision and art
Pause.
and majesty.
Look at this. It's metal.
Yeah.
Right.
Why don't you just make yourself a good bartender and give us a little pour here? There we go.
All right. So this is what I want to do real quick.
All right.
So this is where I'm at. You were upset with the decision of making that first step to go
I'm
down.
upset now.
Well,
I wasn't upset then.
Well, the what I'm saying is like what you were just saying, because I want to make sure that I'm hearing it, which I know I did. You're talking about now your decline. Now you're going down.
Yeah, we're somewhere between 85 and 100 feet up a waterfall.
Now,
looking down on the pool and the people down there and the families.
When you say a waterfall, most people think a waterfall, right?
Yes.
So was it a waterfall that when it cascaded, it went up a couple feet and then deep 4 or 5 feet? And then up?
Okay.
Or was it very much like a steep set of stairs?
No. This is more like. I mean, I'd like to refer to it like kind of like Tetris pieces.
Okay, I got it. It makes sense.
Yeah. This is more like you could walk 3 to 4 or 5 feet and then climb up.
So it wasn't one of those things where you're like, every step you're taking, you've got no like.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
got it.
And some of those layers, you might have had 1 foot,
right,
or 2 feet, right, and then some you might have had 6 feet.
I wanted to make that clear because I never asked you about that part.
I will, and we will put a picture up so people could actually see it.
All right, man, that's brave. That's brave. Okay,
man, it is what it is, man. Went through it. But when you say, talked about, the brain protecting you, I think the biggest thing that my brain did for me is not let me go back to the one moment on that first step. Mm-hmm. Because when we started climbing down, Christian was in front of me.
Okay.
And
you were climbing down and he was here.
So he's kind of like, if we're looking at 12 o'clock, he's at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And so he starts to climb down. I climb down behind him.
Okay. All right.
The first step, my feet shoot out from under me.
Just slip. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And slip like
slipped. I went from upright to I am at Carowinds on a water park and I'm on my ass and my hands here. Like
so you were upright, but you were trying to adjust and trying to.
No. The best thing that I did was not fight it. If I would have fought it, I would have died. Period.
Okay. So you just you went for the ride. Said fuck it.
I have to.
Okay.
That's it. So I literally.
Was that a conscious decision? Or maybe it was.
I think it was a natural. I think it was a natural reaction.
Okay.
I literally think it was a natural reaction, and I legitimately locked in. My body locked in and took everything. No pause on that. So
Right,
I literally was on my tailbone, like I'm riding down a water, like a water slide,
Right.
with my hands, palms down, and my feet kind of, my legs bent, feet flat.
Right.
And so, I think my brain protected me for that, because I can't go back to that moment and think about Christian not being here. Because if he would have fallen, he'd have died.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, he didn't.
He did. And,
But he didn't.
you know, glory be to God. Thanks God for that.
Get out of there.
So literally I am gone. I start sliding and dropping. Some of these drops were 8 to 10 feet. And, so I'm literally sliding and landing and hitting rock with water. You know, so there might have been 3 inches of water, 4 inches of water. Maybe there was an inch of water.
Probably didn't do shit.
It did a little bit probably to cushion it, but I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? How much it really did. It did a lot of, you know, it sucked, but
was it, so you remember all of this?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Every bit.
Holy shit.
Every bit. So listen,
I thought you just said that what the brain does that you,
it doesn't let me process the fact that if I took Christian out on that fall. It doesn't let me go back. It doesn't let me go back to the regret or the I could have killed him. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like that dark road.
Get out of there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm done with that. So man, they say sometimes your life flashes before your eyes, right? Well, this was a freaking 8 to 10 second ordeal. I had time to process thoughts.
But did it go by like a flash?
No.
It went by like slow motion?
No, it went by like I had time to dive into the recesses of my mind and think about Cat Williams' stand-up where he's talking about he got shot and when he thought he was about to die and there was no women coming out, there was no rappers, there was no music. That went through my head.
Are you serious?
I swear to God. At one point, I saw the first couple of drops visually. I'm watching. And then I know as a pure reaction to the trauma that your body, I lost everything as far as vision.
So blacked out. Like,
no, I didn't black out. I didn't black out the whole time.
But what I'm saying is like if you went down and got the impact and you hit, you know how it is.
I could feel it, but I wasn't present. Visual. Yeah,
right.
It's like my body had kind of disconnected. Right. You know, but I was also thinking, I was like, man, this is how I'm gonna go. This is it. That's what kept playing in my head. This is it. And
but you're still right here.
But I'm still right here. So
what happened next?
So these sliding and dropping, and I guess I was telling myself to just lock in, just stay. You know what I'm saying? Just like
when you mean lock in, like lock into a position.
I was literally took everything from your lower back to the bottom of your ass.
Right.
That's what was hitting every single time. Right.
So you've got your and this is no fucking funny shit, but you got a coccyx bone at your tailbone. Did that break?
Yeah, no, it didn't break.
What?
But it got screwed up. It got screwed up. It's normally curved. Mine's like flat now. See, man, we're not gonna do that. We're not. Don't you hug me. We're not gonna do that,
dude. He just does it. But I want to put that levity in here because it's not an easy thing that you're telling me and telling the world right now. So you're going down. You keep dropping.
Yeah. So I took the brunt of everything on the palms of my hands, my feet, and then from the bottom of your butt basically to your lower back.
Do you remember the last fall?
No. after the first 2 or 3 drops, and there were multiple drops after the 2 or 3 drops,
80 fucking feet. Yeah, I would imagine.
And it was, and it started to pick up speed as I went.
Right. Yeah.
You know
of
what I mean?
course, you
Because
get that
of-
momentum,
because-
the inertia.
That's right. Yeah, it's like a movable.
You were just gonna say inertia, and I said it first.
And man, you're in your vocabulary. I'm impressed with that. That was a good job.
Thank you.
So then I guess I'd lost vision. So I'm just in my head with a blackness as in front of me, movie screen, and going through those thoughts. And then I basically hit the bottom and I kind of skid, into the bottom. And the initial rush was like, what the fuck just happened?
But skid to the bottom, like when you stopped, that's when your brain was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
I kind of snapped out of it.
Right.
Yeah, and I
Could
know
you see it again?
I know what happened. Yeah, so immediately vision came back.
On your back, probably. Like
I was in the water, and it's Georgia mountain water.
Oh, it's cold. Yeah.
Boy. It's cold, and which was probably the best thing.
Maybe it was a good thing, right?
It was a good thing,
Right.
Because cold water, like that trauma, I think it really helped.
Right.
So now I'm in the water. So a couple of things, person I was dating at the time, saw the whole thing.
That had to be
We've been dating like 3 months.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It doesn't matter if you've been dating 3 days.
either
That's
way,
some tough
she
shit
saw
to
it.
see. Yeah, for sure.
Another thing that I didn't know up until like a couple of months ago, Christian saw the whole thing.
He did. He
And
didn't want to tell you.
He didn't tell me. He didn't tell me. He said he didn't see it.
Yeah.
So that was another tough, like, you hear that a couple of years later and you're like, man.
Well, he's got the wherewithal to know how to protect you. He's your masterpiece. I've told you that for a minute now.
He's a special one.
Right.
So I'm down there in the water, the cold ass water, and two ladies come rushing over. Right. It was like
were you in water, like deep water, or were you?
No. I was like maybe a foot. Maybe a foot.
So,
Yeah.
right,
So
just, all right.
no worries of anything happening.
Right.
After that, and already taken all the brunt of it. So two women came running over, and I don't know how much. I don't know how long I was there. I don't really feel like there was a disconnect in time.
You got a lot of flashes of.
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't think there was a ton of time. It could have been. It could have been 30 seconds or so. I don't know if I snapped out of something, but they came over and they were like, "Can we pray over you?"
They said that.
Absolutely. They ran over and said, "Can we pray over you right now?" At that point, I would have taken a Muslim, a shaman, Confucius. I would have taken anybody, if they're going to offer that, and they did. Some of the things I don't remember that were told to me, Christian, being the dude that he is, he ended up going over to where, she was, and they ended up climbing down the right way. And Christian actually during this whole process was consoling a little kid who saw this. He was there with his family.
He's a leader, man. He's like you. So that's
it's crazy, man. It's crazy sometimes these moments, what they bring out in people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that was really cool. And they were like, what, and of course, multiple people start coming over now, and they're asking questions. They're like, "Are you okay? Like, can we move you?" I was like, "Get me the fuck out of this water." You know,
it was that cold.
It was freezing, and my foot's bleeding. It's just pouring blood. And
do you feel anything broken or anything numb or anything? I mean,
I was
cold water, but like
the first initial was I'm gonna throw up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was severe, like it was overload.
Yeah,
and I mean, but I didn't throw up, and they ended up pulling me onto this rock. Of course, this big pool area. There's multiple areas where rocks
just pulled you over out of the water, so you're not freezing.
Exactly. Okay. And then people came over with towels and stuff like that, and of course they're asking me questions. By this time, they'd already called the medics. You know what I mean? And
people are beautiful, man. People.
Yeah, the inherent nature of human beings is still good. I refuse to believe otherwise.
I like that. I like that, man.
So it was cool. I mean, everybody was right there for that event to help and assist with my son, assist with one of the girls I was dating at the time. So I mean, all that was really cool. So next, the volunteer firefighters, but we're a quarter of a mile into the wood.
Damn, I forgot that. You said that at the beginning of the story. I completely forgot about that.
We're a quarter of a mile of a hike.
That's a minute.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, I might have to try to walk out of here. You know what I mean?
Did you try to get up?
No, but I didn't. At this point, I didn't know what. That's another thing. Going through the fall, I was waiting to hear the snaps. You know,
I remember you telling me that. Like your bones break.
I knew.
You were prepared. This shit is messed up.
I know.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm not going to die, things are breaking. And so next up, firefighters come in, volunteer kind of rescue unit, which is kind of crazy because I used to train with a mountain rescue unit, here in North Carolina.
So like you kind of knew
I kind of knew protocol. You know what I mean? And so it's funny, you talk about a gurney, right? So they brought in what's a makeshift helicopter gurney, right? Have you ever seen one of those?
The one with the big wheels on it?
Well, kind of, but so a typical gurney is going to be flat. Mm-hmm. A helicopter gurney is curved up the sides. Because if you're going to put somebody in it to lift them up into a helicopter, you got to protect them from sliding off.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because,
yeah.
With wind and all that other stuff. So there was an all-terrain tire in the middle of this.
Boy, tell me they were Michelin tires.
It was Michelin. I don't think it was Continental.
Everybody go to your dealer website and buy Michelin tires. There's a $70 rebate. No. So
can we get Michelin as a sponsor?
You remember that shit?
Oh hell yeah.
How much pain were you in 1 to 10?
At this point, I was in shock. I felt no pain. I felt the cold of the water. I felt my foot freaked out because it was gashed and bleeding. I ended up breaking a bone in my foot, just one. It was small, so nothing major. But no, at this point, hold on. Well, yeah, I'll get to that. So they strapped me into this gurney, and they're not going to airlift me. They're going to wheel me a quarter mile through a hiking
terrain.
Oh, and it's pretty
with roots and
rocks, and it's not the easiest of quarter-mile climbs in. I mean, I can take you to Kings Mountain National Park, and it's a paved trail.
Yeah, no, you're talking about.
This was this was pretty crazy.
So did the bumps and the uneven all that?
It was rough. It was rough.
So this is when you're starting to feel it.
This is when I'm starting to feel a little bit.
All right.
So not much though. Still not much. I'm like on a 1 right now. I'm in a 1 right now. It's not bad. Not bad.
That's amazing from what you just told us.
I'm gonna get to that too. The craziest thing about it is I remember I've never been in this position before. I'm in a gurney. And I'm looking up at the sky
around
and I'm
strangers,
part of me felt embarrassed. Part of me felt like I'm getting wheeled out by a bunch of dudes. It's like, man, fuck y'all, man. I'll wheel you out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But see, that's that pride.
That's that pride.
Yeah.
So, and I remember one of the guys telling me, he was like, hey man, he's like, you gonna be okay. And these are country mountain Georgia boys,
right?
You know what I mean? These are kinds you go out and pound beers with and stuff like that. But they're real. They're real as,
But he probably said that because people are real. He probably said that because he saw you fucked up on a gurney.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make sure to look at you and be like, you're good, man. You're all right.
So that was the first part of that sentence.
Right.
What did he follow up with? He was like, oh, you're going to be good, man. He was like, you're the third one we've pulled out of here in the past 3 months. He was like, one died. He was like, one died, and he was like, the other one had like multiple compressed vertebrae. He's like, I think you're gonna be okay though.
All right, hey, well, do you mind? Can you tell me more? Because we got like a quarter mile to go.
No. Why don't you tell me an anecdote?
Yeah, just a quick little exclaimer out there is like, if you work in that industry and somebody is very in shock and in a traumatic situation, please don't let them know that somebody else died. That's fucked up because you're still not out of that place.
Yeah,
you still don't know what's going on.
No, I'm all over the place.
So you don't know what's broken, what's not. You know that your foot was bleeding. You knew that you were freaking freezing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in a helicopter gurney with the tread wheels to get you, the mud wheels to get you out of this deal, right? Mm-hmm. Michelin, right? Not Dunlops.
Michelin, man, we need a sponsorship.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we get, so now, like when we finally got wheeled out into the area where everybody parks.
Did they airlift you from there?
No. So listen to this. There's more here. So they wheel us out to this area where everybody parks, and now there's like 100 people gathered, because what do you do when there's fire trucks and ambulances? And they heard that somebody fell. This is a well-known place. So if they heard somebody fell, it's like, oh man, who fell? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I'm not going to stop your story. I don't think these people were wrong. I think that you have a concern. Most people have concerns.
Oh yeah, I'm not mad at it either way. I don't,
right.
This is what's the crazy part of this story for me. This is the craziest part. So they wheel me over there. And they were like, all right, we're gonna put you in the ambulance. We're gonna ride you down. I'm like, man, I'm not going in an ambulance.
You had the mental capacity to say that?
They said I'm not going in an ambulance
because you were worried about the cost of it. Like that really went through your.
It did. You know, I mean, I was. But hold up. So I was like, man, I think I can walk. I can walk out of here. You know what I mean? And they're like, what? They're like, Dad, go in the ambulance. Like, no. Y'all can take me to the hospital. I don't need to ride in an ambulance. Y'all can take me to the hospital. So they basically put the gurney up, put me on my feet, and I'm standing in the parking lot.
Successfully. Let me get one more of those.
Yeah. Successfully.
Look at this guy.
So they get me in the car, and they like lean it back, and we had some towels in there for some reason.
Was it a shit? It was hard as fuck to get in the car kind of thing, or was it? So now the pain's starting.
You're talking about stuff very gradually, right? Starting to come. Now I'm still 1.5. I mean, it's
really
not, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's interesting.
So because this is wild. This is where. So they get me in the car, and we make the 20-minute drive probably back to her mom's cabin to drop Christian off. Yeah. So she calls her mom on the way. She was like, hold on. So we drop Christian off at the cabin. Christian goes with her mom and stepdad, and immediately they go in. They did a very good job.
And what a brave young man, Christian, you were to do what you did and handle it the way that you did. What a brave, amazing young man. And
he did. He is an amazing creature.
Yeah.
He really is. And so her stepdad was he did a lot of different things, and bees was one of them, like a beekeeper. He did that on the side on the property. So he immediately started talking to Christian about the bees. I'm like, hey, you want to go down and see the bees? You want to get in a bee suit? So
he kept him busy.
That's what he did the
That's
whole time.
so cool.
I got pictures of Christian in the bee suits and everything like that. So she takes me an hour to Gainesville.
Where's your pain?
When we get in the car, now I start going 2, 3, 3.5, and now the shock is coming in more. So I'm like,
shock's coming in more. It's going away.
No. Shock's still come. The shock's in waves now. So I'm basically in and out of my head consciousness on the way down there.
Okay, so you were able to kind of pass out of that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in and out of consciousness.
Did you ever hit your head when you were going down?
I think one time. I had a good snapback. You know what I mean? Right. I felt one good snapback and I hit my head.
Yeah, and did they let you know if you were concussed or not? Or
they don't believe I was concussed, but it was one of those where they said if you would have hit your head on that fall, you had a concussion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Did you feel for days the headache, because being concussed and doing that, it lasts.
I'll get to that one. I'll get to that one in a second. So we drive down to Gainesville. Now this is during COVID. This is during
2020.
This is still kind of high points of COVID. So we go down to Gainesville. She takes me to the emergency room, and she can't go in with me.
Yeah,
because of all the COVID stuff. So they wheel me in. I'm in an unknown state in an unknown hospital. They put me up into a room and start doing tests, and now is when I go from like a 3.5 to 10. You know, where was
the worst pain?
I mean, it was all back, my lower back, my tailbone. You know what I mean?
L4, L5 is such a horrible spot.
Yeah, because everything, your upper body and your lower body is controlled in that area.
Yeah.
So you feel, so I'm in there and I'm like, I believe I have a high pain tolerance, you know what I mean? But at this point, like I'm in a lot of pain. And so I'm trying to get medicine. They gave me some medicine. I don't know what they gave me. And I'm like, hey man, I
need
in
more
pain. And she was like, we gave you morphine. And you know what I mean? Or she gave
they gave you morphine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that didn't do it.
No, I didn't take away.
That's wild, bro. That's wild.
So I think they gave me something else on top of that a couple of hours later. And then, you're in the emergency room and you hear just
all the other madness going on.
Somebody had come in from a motorcycle accident and he's messed up. And I'm sitting here thinking like, I could probably walk out of here. This guy sounds really screwed up. Like, I don't even need to be here. Like, take care of him.
Yeah. See, that's where that you not being a selfish, person comes into play. That's where you being a man of the people and pragmatic and, and that's, man, kudos to that. So what, so you're in there, you're listening to this madness go on. And
and they come in.
Please tell me you did not walk out of the hospital.
No, I didn't walk out of the hospital.
I was about to punch you in the
face. I didn't walk out of the hospital.
Right.
So long story short, they do all the tests. They didn't necessarily, at that point in time, there wasn't any other super major structural damage to where like broken bones, broken back, broken neck, you know what I mean? Anything like that.
Just the foot.
For right now, yes. And they didn't even analyze my foot.
Okay.
They didn't even analyze my foot. So like my foot, later on got infected. We find out that it was broken. Like they didn't even analyze my foot at all, which was kind of sucks on them. So so you like to bring levity into the situation. So I'll bring a little bit of levity into this.
I just got so fucking pissed off just now.
Oh yeah, she did too.
Yeah,
she did too.
Like,
she flipped.
When you hear your people talking about something and you're like, oh yeah, that happened. Like I'm sitting there thinking like, what if you're a hospital? You were the tip top.
I have a gash, a 3-inch, 4-inch. I still got the gash. You know what I mean on my foot.
Like it scar. All right, but you got it sewed up or whatever. But how long did it take for you to know that it was broken?
Not long afterwards. I got out. So, all right. So they, she raised hell, after that, but so they do all their tests and everything like that. And they said they're going to release me, right? These are like 4 or 5 hours later. And she was doing a good job. We were kind of going back and forth. I'm in a ton of pain and I'm still trying to answer texts and stuff. And she said, I'm out here in the parking lot. I'm here. I'm just send me any kind of updates you get. Cause I can't get updates from them.
Right. Because
she wasn't related, you know what I mean? And that kind of stuff.
Wild.
It's not a power. She doesn't have power, any kind of thing like that. So she was telling me a story about how she's in the parking lot and a car next door had the windows down and a raccoon goes into the parking lot and jumps into the car next to her. So she's watching like Animal Control trying to get this raccoon. So it's, it was funny. It was like some funny stuff.
I'm not going to lie.
That
funny. Sounds awesome as fuck.
And she's watching everything next door. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So me being the guy. Yeah. So here's the funny part. So I'm in a gown, right? Medical gown. And they give me all my shit in a plastic Ziploc bag.
Like
right?
You're leaving jail?
A gallon bag, yes. Yeah, a gallon bag. We've seen a few of those, but there was other stuff in them back in the day.
Yes.
So an orderly takes me down the elevator, takes me down to the front door. We go outside. And I had called her and said that they're going to release me soon. She had gone. She was like, "Look, she had gone down the street to get we were talking about Subway earlier. So I think she went to go get Subway. And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. The moment I leave to go get something to eat, But I was like, "Just chill. It's okay. Everything's okay." So she was on her way back. She was about 10 minutes away.
Please tell me you're still in your gown.
I am. I'm in my gown with all my shit in a gallon Ziploc
in a Food Line bag.
And so the orderly wheels me outside. We're out front. It's summertime, so it's warm. Everything's cool. And I was like, "Hey man, you don't have to stay with me." And he was like, no, it's a hospital procedure. I have to stay with. I was like, no, man, my girlfriend, she's on her way back. She's going to be here any minute.
You can bounce.
You can bounce. And he was like, okay. So he walks in. So imagine her pulling up out front of the emergency room
with you with a bag.
I'm in a wheelchair.
Did you do like
a gown?
thing? You're such a dirtbag.
Oh, I did. No, I'm not. Man, this is funny. This is the levity.
I'm not going to point fingers.
This is you're a problem. so she pulls up, and I'm gown, bag, looking like
hell. Yeah,
$2.08. You know what I mean? Which
max.
Shout out to Christian the other day, where he has a chime card that we can reload. Now he's got a job. Props to you, son. But he was like, we were talking the other day, and he was like, I was like, how's everything going? And this and that. And we're talking about money, and he was like, man, Dad, I got 7 cents to my name. This is real life.
Shit is a struggle over here.
Struggle right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
I looked like a $1.08.
Yeah.
You know, I was disheveled. I was a mess.
You mean like a buck weight, like 108 pounds?
I wish.
I'm just saying.
Actually not. That's more like a Auschwitz.
I know. But
for me right now.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, it would have been nice. So she pulls up and she was like, they just left you out. I was like, yeah, they just wheeled me out here and left me out here by myself.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it was great.
But that's you, and that's the levity that you put into a situation, the traumatic, crazy madness that you haven't even got to process yet.
Yeah.
Why not let me make a joke real quick?
That's it.
Because
I still want to make light of a traumatic situation. So she got me in the car, right? Just real quick. So she got me in the car. We went back to the cabin. We made that hour drive back. And,
any better pain management?
Oh man, I'm loopy now. I'm on like 2 doses of all the good stuff, man. Dude, I was I spit bars, 16 bars. So we go into the house. I walk into the house. I'm still in my gown. They got pictures. I'm still in my gown.
You walked?
I walked into the house. Yeah. So you pull up the little
driveway. That morphine drip.
Oh yeah. So we walked.
Waste that purple drink, boy.
that lean. So we walked through the garage into the house downstairs. It's a 3-level mountain cabin. And so we walk into the bottom, and her stepdad Lee and Christian are showing us all the honey they collected. And he's got this cool machine where you put the.
Well, you were blasted on morphine.
Oh yeah. And they brought food.
So
and
I bet
stuff
it was
like
cool
that.
as hell.
They brought food. They actually had some food for me, so I'm sitting there eating a little bit.
You're feeling like on cloud nine.
Feeling great. And then a couple hours passed, and then I couldn't walk for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it all back? Was it the?
Yeah.
It's debilitating. It's debilitating.
Like I had no like they had to help me to the bathroom.
Right.
Like I was.
Right.
I was a couple hours after that. Like I was from my tops of my knees to about 80% down my back. From that area right there, I was black and blue.
Oh God, just bruised the hell up.
Yeah, my hands were all jacked up.
What's crazy, just you telling me that, and as heavy as you were, that when you were hitting your hands,
heavy. What are you talking about?
What?
As heavy as I was?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Don't try to make this a fat joke, all right? That was messed up. I was actually in pretty good shape.
When every time that you went down another cascading deal. Like, you took the brunt from your core, but your hands still probably had that. And that's another blessing, bro, that they were probably beat the hell up.
Yeah, they were.
But not broken is so crazy.
I know. So a little bit later on, we come to find out that I did have a couple of spinal fractures. So had a couple of compression fractures.
How do you fix that?
You pray that time does.
All right, so this is not you got a fracture, I got to go in there and stitch it up.
No, I mean some fractures like that you can go in and repair,
but not yours.
Some other ones, you just pray that time heals it.
So how is it now?
The compression fractures have healed, but the disc haven't. Once a disc is compressed, it's compressed.
Is your disc like L4, L5 area?
Yeah, I have 2 compressed discs,
right?
Which will probably cause a little bit of spinal pain going forward, but hey man, listen, and of course some spinal adjustments and stuff that are going to need more time to
the chiropractor, right?
They can help, but I tell you what, man, this goes back to a lot of different things. If you strengthen up by going to the gym and working out, if you do your best to maintain your weight,
you've been working on hard this year.
It will really strengthen up the other things around it.
Right.
But for that month afterwards was a blur to me. That's why I wanted to ask you about the hospital.
Right.
Because it was really a blur to me. They did a very good job of taking care of me,
right.
you know.
But the convalescing, the convalescing stage of getting better, that people that have been in traumatic situations, the convalescing stage is the sleeping forever stage, the exhausting.
You're exactly right.
And that's what convalescing is, right? That's you laying there getting better.
And your body is healing itself.
Healing. Yeah. And then in that detriment of that, though, is that you're laying down where you should be upright.
Yeah.
And that puts more problems on your back. That puts more problems on your hips. It puts more problems in places. Yeah. And then motion, the atrophy. Yeah. And like even that was another thing I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
It was something I forgot to say when they, I was a soccer player, at that point, I was pretty fucking solid, man. I had some crazy
I was gonna ask
hamstrings.
You, did that leg.
That leg, when I said that it had hair on it, and I was all like, oh, wow, look at me. I'm this young kid, before puberty with the hair. And I was like, that's one thing I forgot to say. My leg was, I could see my shin bone as if it was all that was there. I mean that. And then they had some help me, because from the brain injury that I had back then, I can't put words out, and I'm a podcaster. So the atrophy, they had to shock my muscles to wake them up, right?
Yeah.
And then the
like a tinge machine. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, and whatever it was, you got they could put patches on you like you would think.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, basically get it to spasm
right. But they actually, what they're doing is just waking it up, and that's what the guy said to me. He was like, "Look,
it's been dormant this whole time."
He was like, "I'm gonna turn this up. Tell me when it feels like you don't like it."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Okay, I don't know what you mean." And I was like, Zzz, and you're like, "Oh, you feel it."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "How long do I have to sit here like this with that?" And he was like, "Just till it wakes up, just till whatever."
Yeah.
And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a physician. I'm not a medically inclined. So if I'm butchering this, I don't care. And they did that a few times, and then what I did, because as a soccer player, I wanted my calf back, I wanted my quad back, I wanted my right. Yeah. I would do the 1-footed deal where you do calf lifts and you do that, right?
Yeah.
So in that month, which. A month is a long time. People think it's just like, oh, he was down and out for a month. Shit, don't use your muscles or anything for a month.
It feels different. It was difficult. So going back, physical therapy, I didn't really atrophy a lot. I will tell you this, having a knee surgery before, 2 ACL reconstructions, my first ACL reconstruction.
I was there when you tore your ACL the first time. Sucks.
Yes. Yeah. And we kept winning, man. We kept winning.
We couldn't leave that Albemarle Road. We couldn't leave the Albemarle Road Rec Center. Because we kept beating everybody that we were playing.
And then the D2 college kid came out there, and I'm 15, 16 years old. I'm like, nah, screw that, man. I want to. Yeah, we start. You did
have a sick basketball game, bro. I will tell you that with
it was okay.
I know what.
Know people a hell of a lot better. But anyway, so.
Oh, man, I'm just trying to be humble here. Hope the team wins. Hope everybody else survives. I don't know. I don't care. About
all right.
Dude, you were a fucking nasty-ass basketball player. J. Rue, you got my back on this. Albemarle Road Rec Center, you fucking tortured people.
J. Rue and I were teammates for a couple of years.
Now.
We had some good times, and we had some good games.
I'm so sick of the humility. Jason Bribbo came up here and just decided that he's humble now and not a petty jerk. Anyway, continue.
All those names are on my business card, by the way. Humble, petty jerk. That's all it says. Here.
There's a QR code on the bottom right of the screen.
It's just a bigger version of what I just said. It's just a bigger version of me saying humble, petty jerk.
So,
all right, go ahead. Ask the question.
I don't have any after effects. I was lucky enough for it to happen at the time when your body's more resilient, more metabolism going, high metabolism, high recovery rate. Yeah. Like, even though this is only 4 years ish later, do you have remnants? Do you have body aches? Do you have something that,
Yeah, I mean, I there hasn't been a day since that I haven't had tailbone pain.
Right,
That's
right.
for sure. But it's okay. I've done some good work over the past year. So I didn't have atrophy, but the one thing is it severely restricted my mobility for a long time because I had to get right. I had to
walk.
Well, no. I mean, I still had the pimp walk. But so I had to get readjusted as far as chiropractor.
Pause.
God bless. I love you. So I had to get, I'm not even going to say it again. But I couldn't be at the gym. So
right.
I ended up gaining weight. You know what I mean?
Because which is natural because you're, yeah.
So
did they have you on steroids or anything like that? Because that's another thing that'll increase your hunger and
no, didn't have me on steroids. I mean, I'm really thankful for the doctor that I had. She did a good job. I mean, I love her to death. On Hale, Lake Park Family Physicians.
Come on.
She does such a good job. And so the chiropractor, Dr. John over at Matthews Family Physicians, he's an amazing dude, Christian guy, would pray with me every time I come in there. And man, it's crazy because a lot of people say, man, like, I don't understand like how you went through that and only had that limited amount of stuff.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. I don't know why. I don't. I don't have a clue. I don't know why, Christian stayed up on that rock, but I will tell you this.
Get out of there.
You tell me that one more time. I'm going to hit you with this fucking microphone. But I will tell you this. I know from that moment, I still have a purpose. Yeah. I still have a mission. And that's my one takeaway. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. That's why I asked you what your takeaway was. So
your takeaway
is that I still have a purpose. I still have a mission. I still got work to do.
Well, I mean, and you have this canvas that you've been painting, and the canvas that you've been painting is this life that you built. I know you since the dirt. You didn't come up You didn't come up like I did. You didn't come up like, you came up different. I ain't going to put all your business out there, but you had every ingredient in the recipe to fail. And there is no reason why anybody would think differently about you. If we're talking about us as kids that knew Bridwell and all the internal things. So you, went through this traumatic experience and you came out of it knowing you still got a purpose. The father that you turned into, you weren't a good father when you started, neither was I, because we didn't know what the hell we were doing, right?
Yeah.
And I love my oldest son for, things unbeknownst to him that I was poor. I wasn't around, not poor like in the money sense. I was a poor father and I wasn't around because I was too selfish. But, when you have this purpose, this conversation with a very near and dear friend like we are, fuck the podcast, you realize like, all right, well, cool. Well, the mission all right. So I'm not your yes man. You ain't my yes man. I'm gonna tell you when you're being whacked, and you're gonna tell me when I'm being whacked, because we came from people who would love to tell people that they're being whacked. And absolutely, it's important to be transparent. And in this episode for me, that I want to end it with it, if you're cool with that. This episode for me gave me the opportunity to be vulnerable and tell the story as I remember it, and the memories are very, very shallow, and meaning that I don't have a lot of them, and I gained the information off of, you and J. Rue and my family, and you being the complete opposite of the traumatic experience. You remembered every part of it, which is terrifying to me, right? And then it's like, think about that. Not only did you have to watch me get blasted by a Nissan Sentra, not know if I was dead or not, deal with that for the rest of your life, then go and get this crazy, crazy thing, this freak accident that happens, blame yourself even after the situation for almost possibly hurting your son. Mm-hmm. And still to this day, it blows my mind that like, all right, well, I don't remember mine. I got to ask this guy about it. He was there. He bought, and then my family, and it was crazy. And the takeaways from it are the same. I didn't have kids then. You had kids when it happened.
Yeah.
But we both have a commonality. We both have a goal. You got a goal. That's the thing that people miss. It's a game. This whole thing's a game. And if you ain't willing to go and slam dunk the goal, man, you're not really living, man. Like feel the bad and the pain and all that as much as you feel how good it feels to win and feel joy and feel, the dopamines and serotonins in there, man. Yeah. Feel that pain and know, man, like shit, man. You know what? I haven't talked about that forever. And then we talk about it, and it brings you back to these crazy dark places or whatever like that. But then again, man, we've been talking about this since Friday night.
Yeah,
we've been working. That we came here to reset. We came here to. We've been
Friday night was last night.
Yeah, but shit, we've been here.
Feels like we've been here a week.
We've been here for a week long in the mountains. I literally just grew this beard last night. My point of it is, if that wouldn't have happened, then it's the butterfly effect, right? If that wouldn't have happened, then the path would have went that way.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here right now.
If I would have, because I talk about how good of a soccer player I was, about my mom's like, oh, he was the best. Yeah, man, I was good, man.
You were a great soccer player.
I had some skills. I had some mentors like Haven Bruce and people that taught me how to get creative. And if I would have been like, all right, cool, I'm going to go to Costa Rica where Haven is and play, try out for this semi-pro team, would have never had my kids. If I would have, done the rap thing, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm so cool, Bob never would have had the life I have right now. The stuff that's happening right now is exactly how it happened for its own reason.
Yeah,
right?
It's supposed to happen.
So, I'm into this, man. We did 3 podcasts today.
I feel like I could do 3 more.
All right, we could.
After
but
this
I do want to put a disclaimer out there. We've done 3 podcasts today.
True story.
It's called the Two Poor Podcast. Two. Do you get it? A little bit feeling good.
You are feeling good.
Hey, you know what we did though?
Yeah.
Dead ass. We completed the mission of what we were coming up here for. Sean, fucking.
Hello, America. It's me, your president, your commander-in-chief of the...
We came here to have a mission. And the mission was to reset, to disconnect, to do the podcast, to get 27 podcasts done. And then Jason Bridwell, Uncle Jason Bridwell, right?
Take the rest of the year off.
He said, yeah, we're not doing that. We'll probably get 3 done. And I'm like, yeah, you're thinking small, right? And see, that's the thing about pushing each other. I'm like, 3? Man, see, that's the problem with you, Jason.
5.
That's the problem with you.
Yeah.
And we did 3. We got it done. This was a great episode. I got to get some things off my chest and tear up a little bit. I got to listen to the story and find out some information I didn't know. Right?
Yeah, and there's and honestly, man, and there's other stories that we've told each other about this that we're not really going to go into, but a lot of people out there haven't heard that.
Right.
It's one thing I've just really kind of kept close to the vest. And man, life is short.
Right.
Life is short. And in that moment, I didn't know if that was it. And the thing about it is that could be your moment today. That could be your moment tomorrow.
Right.
So give thanks.
Live it.
Tell the people that you know and care about that you love them. Put the petty shit aside. Get
out of there.
Be better. Yeah. Be better.
You gotta want to be better.
Make a difference.
You gotta
and be attitude of gratitude.
You know, I'm gonna leave it with this, man. I'm blessed. I love my babies. I love Josh. I love Jacob. I love Isabella. I love Julia and Ashley. I'm so in love with you, and I am also in this crazy amount of brotherhood, camaraderie, and love. And you know, I wasn't there for you when that shit happened to you. We had disconnected for a while because life happens the way it does, and that shit won't ever happen again. All right, that's on me.
Can I get one up top on that? All right.
Can I tell you what, man?
What's up, brother?
Let's go, man. Right?
This is it, 2024.
2024.
All wins coming at you, 2024. I know it's going to be for us because we're claiming it. What are you going to do?
Boom. I feel good.
See ya.
Yo.
Was grace the